It's 4 o'clock on a Tuesday, and you know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi's Quarantini Happy Hour. Woohoo! Yeah, baby. Big show today. Really big. Hello, everybody. How are you guys? Today, I'm going to give you a sneak preview that nobody else has gotten of all the Taxi Road Rally prequels and panels that I've got dreamed up. I'm going to talk about Charlie Watts, which is very sad. The floods in Tennessee, really sad. And give you some more behind the scenes of Criteria Studios, Studio C. So that's it. Let me say hello to everybody in the chat room. And let's see who we've got today. I'm not going to go to the top of the list because it'll be the same three people over and over. I've learned that trick. Hello, Marion Laird, Ewart Williams, Il Rosso Emile, Akira Canyon, Peter Rahill, Bob Gunnerfeld, Martin Gravel, Heidi Owen, John Pearson. Probably get a report from Tennessee from JP about what's going on with all that rain there. Let's see, who else? Jesse J. Peck mentioned him. Michael Lehman, Andre Stepanian, Lomar Pecorino, Dean Turner. And now we're down at the bottom of the list. Hello. Elliot says yo. True Swan says hi. Hello. Back to you. Darren Fletcher, Karen Brasher, Chris Anderson. All right. Anyway, first and foremost, welcome to the show. I was out yesterday. Deb and I celebrated our anniversary and went to a fireplace mantle store, out to lunch, and then to the Reagan Museum or Reagan Presidential Library to see the FBI exhibit. If you are in or around LA or coming to town, go see it. Really good. Let's see. So yeah, I took yesterday off, but I did work 20 hours between Saturday and Sunday, sitting right here at this desk. Thank you guys for the happy anniversary wishes. 29 years of wedded bliss, every minute of it. Actually, pretty darn good, I gotta say. Anyway, where was I? I lost track. Yeah, so I worked on the road rally all day Saturday, about, I think, 9 or 10 hours on Saturday, and easily 10 hours on Sunday, and really needed the day off yesterday. It was great. Didn't check any messages on my phone, didn't turn on the computer, and today woke up to a storm of emails and texts and all that good stuff. Anyway, Charlie Watts. I just heard the news a couple hours ago. Liz told me. Very sad. The opposite of being a front man, but steady as a rock. Always seemed to be good-natured. Showed up for the gig on time every time and played just perfectly for the band. You know, it's funny. He doesn't even look like somebody that should be in a band with Keith, for instance. But probably, just classy, steady, gentleman-like, all that stuff. And my condolences to his family, of course, and to all his fans, and to the guys in the band, because I'm sure he will be missed a great deal. Charlie, thank you. Let's see, Tennessee flood. This morning, I think when I was getting ready for work, I heard they had 16 or 17 inches of rain in a single day. I can't even imagine. 2 inches is a lot of rain. And a lot of people died, right? JP, you probably know better than I, but 20 people died, 50 missing or something like that, I think I heard. How close is it to like Nashville, the part of Nashville that I know, like the Row. There's the Row, and then there's downtown. By the way, one of my favorite places in Nashville is the Art Store on 6th. I love that place. 22 dead and 50 missing. Wow. Anyway, very sad. Lot of rain. I wish you guys could ship some of that out here, because we could certainly use it. Anyway, I hope that they find the 50 missing. And, 7-month-old twins. Ouch. The area is about 1.5 to 2 hours west of Nashville. Okay. Thank you, Keith. Spoke to Keith over the weekend. I was working on road rally stuff, which I'll tell you guys about in a few minutes. I'm wheezing today. Our 5-year-old granddaughter stayed over Saturday night. I got home from work, 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and our daughter Gabriella is home right now for like a month-long visit, and she is 21, and she is the coolest aunt ever. So she built a fort with our 5-year-old granddaughter, and they asked me to join them to watch it. Deb and I both joined them in the fort. It was made out of like parachute material and a couple of chairs and a coffee table, and we put it in front of the TV in the family room, and we watched a Disney movie in there. I seriously tweaked my back. I've not been right ever since, but it was pretty cool. Our granddaughter at some point got up from her spot, moved over about 3 feet, and came over and snuggled with Grandpa. And then she went home on Sunday. She stayed over Saturday night, and she got sick on Sunday. So everybody in the family is like, oh no, we've got the COVID. But thank God she didn't have it. She's just got a cold or something. I got a little bit of it, so I'm a little wheezy today. But no fever, no COVID. She got tested. Anyway. My wife said I was being immature. I told her to get out of my fort. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so that's that. That's the weekend activities. I'm going to fill you in. Nobody else, not even my wife, has heard this list. So I'm going to tell you what's going on with the rally in a couple minutes. But I want to go back to, my favorite place in the world was Criteria Studios, circa the mid-1970s. And for those of you who joined the show the other day, there we go. So this is Criteria Studio C, probably 5 or 10 years ago. It says the Hit Factory because the Hit Factory out of New York bought them, and it said the Hit Factory Criteria. Now they're just back to using the Criteria name and logo. Anyway, that is Studio C. So that's how it looks now. That's not how it looked when I worked there. This is how it looked when I worked there. And here I am, hanging out with the Bee Gees. Remember this guy? That guy right there. That's Carl Richardson. He was my favorite mentor when I worked at Criteria, and the first guy to ever show me a professional studio and control room at Criteria, and it was this actual room. And next to him is Albie Galutin, who lives out here. I'm still friends with both of them, closer with Carl than with Albie, but I know Albie fairly well. Let's see, who else do we have? That is Dennis Byron, Alan Kendall, Bee Gees guitar player. That's Blue Weaver. There's the most handsome guy in the world, lots of teeth. Oh my God, there's Barry Gibb, of course, Robin Gibb. And all the way over here we have Maurice, or as he was frequently called in studio, Mo. Anyway, and I hope you guys remember last year, Carl was the first or second interview I think I did for the Road Rally prequels. Did a 2-hour interview with him. And he just sent me an email like a month ago. Just, wow, I'm red. I was green 5 minutes ago. Let's see what color I turn. Anyway, it's because I'm wearing an all black shirt. Thank you to the guys at Session Wire. They are going to be my guests on Monday's Taxi TV, regular Taxi TV, this coming Monday, 4 o'clock. Don't miss it. Session Wire. The guys involved, some of the guys involved have been Taxi members. That's not the important part. The important part is if you need a way to collaborate for songwriting, or if you want to do a full band rehearsal with people in disparate locations and you want high quality video, high quality audio, and no lag or latency, Session Wire is the company for you. It's awesome. I've got to say, I haven't had as much time to check it out as I would like. We will learn more on Monday about it, and they're going to be part of the road rally. But finally, you can really do, it's literally like you're sitting in a room. You can have somebody mixing your stuff and listen on your monitors in your control room or your headphones at home in real time. And it sounds amazing. So anyway, we're going to learn more on Monday. So make sure to check out sessionwire.com in the meanwhile. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Oh yeah, Criteria Studios C. So, okay, there we go. We've got the Bee Gees in the control room. And notice, maybe I should go this way. See that console that Carl is sitting at? Yeah, it's really hard to do this in reverse. I don't know how those weather people do it. That console right there is a legendary recording console hand-built by a gentleman named Jeep, like the car, Jeep Harned. Jeep founded MCI, which I used to affectionately call Munchy Crunchy Inside, but it actually stood for Music Center Incorporated. And basically everything they built got tested at Criteria. And that console in that room, most of the time, because so many people from Atlantic Records recorded at Criteria, that they would build 2 of each console. So I think they built 2 of the Studio A console, 2 of the B console, and maybe 2 of that one, which is the Studio C console. But to give you a little idea of the kind of stuff, I found this list on historyofrecording.com. It's also where I got some of these photos I'm going to show you in a minute. Gold singles that were done on that console in that room. And this is just some of them. I know that there were more that didn't make it to this list. The Bee Gees, Tragedy. Bee Gees, Too Much Heaven. Bee Gees, How Deep Is Your Love. Bee Gees, Jive Talkin'. Bee Gees, You Should Be Dancing. Bee Gees, Love So Right. Bee Gees, Staying Alive. Bee Gees, Saturday Night Fever. Eagles, One of These Nights. Eagles, Lion Eyes. Eagles, New Kid in Town. These are just singles that were done in that room on that console when it looked like that. And during the time when I worked there, I might add. Eagles, Hotel California, which happened about 6 months to a year after I left. Eric Clapton, I Shot the Sheriff, which happened in that room about 6 months before I got there. And when Carl showed me that room, the first time I was allowed to see a real control room, he actually played me I Shot the Sheriff and Jive Talkin' in that room. And Love So Right. I heard those 3 songs in that room, and it's like, this is what I absolutely want to do with the rest of my life. Elvin Bishop recorded Fooled Around and Fell in Love in that room. Andy Gibb recorded I Just Want to Be Your Everything. Remember Love Is Thicker Than Water by Andy Gibb? Done in that room. Remember An Everlasting Love? Done in that room. Remember Shadow Dancing? Done in that room. Break Out Your Satin Jacket and Your Chest Hair and Your Big Gold Chain. Here's a great one for you. Joe Walsh, Rocky Mountain Way, recorded in that room. Samantha sang Emotion. Andy Gibb, Our Love, Don't Throw It All Away. I can sing most of these in the shower, but no more singing on today's show. Here's one for you. Grand Funk Railroad, We're an American Band, was done in that room. Rod Stewart, Do You Think I'm Sexy, was done in that room. And I was right there on the other side of that wall was the famous Criteria Studio C lobby pinball machine. And Rod Stewart was in the studio warming up for vocals or something, and Tom Dowd, the legendary record producer, and Arif Mardin, the other legendary record producer, who were working with Rod Stewart on that record. And through the wall I could hear da 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 da. And I stopped these two older gentlemen that I knew had to be really important and know what they were talking about. I was vacuuming the lobby, the carpet, the orange shag carpet, I might add, in the lobby of Studio C. And I said, "Excuse me." And they stopped their game and looked at me like, "What the hell? You just interrupted, the world championship pinball game." And I said, "How do you make a hit record?" Remember, I asked Barry Gibb a couple days later, actually, how you write a hit song. But I asked them, "How do you make a hit record?" And Tommy Dowd, being the gentleman that he was, stopped playing pinball, pointed out the window and down the street, and there was a warehouse down there, and he said, "Look, on the other side of this wall, I've got one of the greatest artists of all time. We've got the best band money can buy, the best equipment money can buy, the best everything money can buy. I don't know if we're making a hit record, but down there in that warehouse at the end of the block is some kid with a TAC 4-track making a hit record. You know why?" And I said, And he said, "Because he wrote a hit song. That's how you make a hit record." So there you go. Little Studio C education. Okay, gold albums that were done in this room included, but not limited to, Saturday Night Fever by the Bee Gees, Children of the World by the Bee Gees, Here at Last by the Bee Gees, Main Course by the Bee Gees. They spent a lot of time in that room. They would lock it out for just months on end. Andy Gibb, Flowing Rivers, Andy Gibb, Shadow Dancing, Eric Clapton, 461 Ocean Boulevard, great album. Eric Clapton, The History of Eric Clapton, Grand Funk Railroad, We're an American Band, the album, Eagles, One of These Nights, Eagles' Greatest Hits, which I believe, Eagles' Greatest Hits, the one with the light blue cover and the cow skull on it, I think I'm right about this, maybe the biggest selling album of all time, or one of the top 2 or 3 biggest selling albums of all time forever. Eagles Hotel California, a classic. Joe Walsh, The Smoker You Drink, The Player You Get. Great title. What the hell does that mean? Average White Band, AWB. Average White Band, Cut the Cake. Marshall Tucker Band, Together Forever. The soundtrack for my favorite thing to sing along with in the shower, the soundtrack from Grease. I sing the Olivia Newton-John parts. Here's Crosby, Stills, and Nash, CSN, which was done about a year and a half after I left. And here's a mistake. The Stills Young Band, Long May You Run, was actually recorded in Studio B at Criteria. I know that because I worked on that record. But there was that night that Stephen Stills, I crashed on the couch at his house, and about an hour after I fell asleep, he woke me up and said, "I've got an idea for a song. Take me back to the studio." And we were working in Studio B, and I called my friend Margie, who is still a friend to this day, and she was the person who assigned people to different rooms. And she said, "Don't mess up anything in Studio B. Studio C is open. Go there." And so I set up Stephen Stills with a guitar amp, his guitar, and a microphone, and he played down, 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 till the sun came up, and then some, over and over and over. So technically, part of the Stills Young Band album, Long May You Run, was done in there. I'm not sure. That song was called the 12/8 Blues, if I remember correctly. I think that was the title. Anyway, it made it to a record somewhere. And then finally on this list, the Bee Gees' Spirits Having Flown was done in that room. So there you go. A little history from my alma mater. Let me get back to you guys right there. Let's see, make sure I'm still live because the chat room is just sitting there idle. Okay, everything looks good. And getting out of that. And now, okay, so now I'm going to show you that console again. That recording console right there. Take a look at those faders. Those are called Painton faders. Painton, maybe? Just guessing. They're British. And there weren't that many studios in the States that had them. They looked like this. This is that same console with an armrest that was put on around 1978 or 79. A new armrest. Used to be black, then they put a beige one on there. And then the console got sold. And this console was in storage somewhere, and the guy who owned it put it up for sale, and this is one of the pictures he had. So that's the actual console that all those records were made on. And there are those beautiful Painton faders. It was kind of a curvy fader, like this, kind of like throttles on an airplane. Here's the other cool thing. That is the bus assignments up there. So if you wanted microphone 1 to go to track 20, you would have pushed that button down there. And notice, this is a split console. You don't see very many, if any of these anymore. I don't even know if they make them anymore. But this side was the record input side, and then everything got bussed over to this side, which was the mix side. So these faders controlled the input coming from the microphone to the tape machine. Love that sexy meter bridge up there, by the way. Notice it had quad meters for mixing in quad. Left, right, left back. Well, you get the idea, right back. I'll be right back. Or I was left back in school, which is probably closer to the truth. Anyway, so the input was over here, so you'd bring up one of these faders to get the signal coming in, and then to listen, whatever track it was going to over there, you would bring that fader up. Obviously, they ran out of Painton fader caps at some point and started replacing them with whatever color they could get. But here's the cool thing, is this console, check this out. This was what they call discrete. It didn't have channel strips. It didn't have printed circuit boards. It didn't have, well, it had some, but not like we know today. It didn't have integrated circuit chips. It had individual transistors, individual resistors, individual capacitors, and big honking transformers, and everything, as you can see, was hardwired. So if you wanted to work on the console, this was all three of the consoles at Criteria when I worked there, you would flip that thing up and have to take a dive down into the beast, the belly of the beast. In Studio A, it was big enough. There were times where I walked in there, they had that thing propped open with a 2x4 holding it up, and I would find one of our techies named Brad Richardson, who's actually the brother of my friend Carl Richardson. Brad would be wearing a pair of glasses on his back, looking up, soldering stuff on this while it was suspended over his face with a 2x4. So if somebody wanted to be funny, walked in and whacked the 2x4, he would have gotten whacked in the face with about 200 to 300 pounds worth of, maybe even more, of very heavy electronics. But that, my friends, when you hear about a discrete Class A recording console, that is what they look like inside. All right. Yeah, soldering upside down was pretty crazy. How many hands were needed to work the faders in order to mix down a song? No, I'm sure that there were guitarists that got their own fader. You know, it was back in that time period, we did things like put a pencil across a group of faders, and that's how we made a subgroup for background vocals. If we were feeling especially professional, we would take out some tape, like the blue tape you would use on the end of a reel to hold it from unraveling, and take that tape and tape the pencil on the faders. Very, very common to have 2 or 3 people during a mix standing around the console, and you would call your assistant over and say something like, all right, coming up, chorus 1, grab faders 9 and 10, and 1, 2, 3, unmute. And they would unmute them, and the background vocals would come in. As soon as the background vocals were over, boom, mute them again. So there was no automation, nothing even close to automation back then. But, I mean, not very many people today get to see a discrete console like that. So let's go back. All right, there we go. So, yeah, that's about... Oh, the other cool thing I've got to tell you about this is, if you look carefully, there's nothing in here. If I can't see it very well from where I'm sitting right now. I'm like 3 feet away from it. But these were little blank panels with 2 like thumb screws in each one of them. So if you were recording and you wanted an equalizer on the record side, on the input side, you would come over here and pull out an equalizer, and the equalizers were, I don't know, like 3.5, 4 inches faceplate wise, and then like 6 inches deep. And you would unscrew it and pop it out, and then bring it over here and plug it in. So let's say you were doing, your kick drum was coming into input 2. You would take the equalizer out of the other side, usually from somewhere around track 20 or something that you probably weren't using on the playback side or on the mix or listen side, and plug in the equalizer on this side. So basically, you had almost a straight wire going from the microphone. Oh, and these things were gold plated, by the way. They were touch sensitive and gold plated. So they passed audio beautifully, and it would go straight from the bus assigns to the fader and then over to the track of the tape machine. So it was about, as uncluttered a signal path as you could get. Certainly far more uncluttered than you would get, just even 5 years after that. And then when it was time to mix the record, you would take the equalizers out of this side of the console, bring them all over here so that you could EQ whatever was coming back from tape. And if I remember correctly, the strips on this, even though technically it wasn't an inline console with like full strips that you could pull out, I think that they were 1/2 inch versus, or 3/4 of an inch versus 1 inch. So notice how close together the faders are. And this was originally built, I want to say, as 16 inputs and 16 outs, and then it was modified to 20 inputs and 24 out, I think. Right around the time that I arrived at Criteria, they were just starting to get rid of the 16-track tape machines and install 24-track machines. Anyway, so that's Studio C, man. Doesn't get much more legendary than that. I love this picture of Carl just sitting there, right there. That was Carl, man. Always happy to make his clients happy. Such a good guy. And that was the general vibe of what went on in the rooms at Criteria. See, they weren't smiling for a picture. They were just smiling. Everybody was happy. And then, once again, here is the later version, obviously from the back of the room looking forward with the Neve console in it. And I'm sure that was a sweet-sounding console, too. Never worked on that one, not in that room. I've worked on a Neve very similar to that, but not in that room. Anyway, and here we are, back with another Neve in beautiful Westlake Studios. So that's it. Wasn't Tonto in that studio? Tonto and his amazing headband? That Tonto? Anyway, so that's that. Yeah, someday if everybody wants to join me in Miami, I can absolutely guarantee you 100% sure that I can get you guys all a tour. Doesn't look like that anymore. Oh, Tonto, the huge synthesizer. No, I don't believe Tonto was ever there. I could be wrong, but anyway. All right, what else do I want to talk about today? Oh, I want to talk about... Oh, if you're not a subscriber to this channel, please hit the red button and subscribe. And I don't know how many likes we've gotten so far, but If you like those photos of the Studio C console, show me some love and give us a like. All right. So I want to say this, and I need everybody to listen very carefully. What I'm about to tell you is not for public consumption outside of our little family, or as I like to call you guys, the Manson family. How could I say this? 80% of these things I'm going to tell you about have not been confirmed. In many cases, I haven't even called the people to say, hey, guess what? You're doing this kind of panel on this day at this time. There are people that I know for the most part will say yes, and I may have to change sometimes, but I would say most of this will stick. And this year, I want to let you know that we are doing 3 full days of Road Rally prequels. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, November 1st, November 2nd, November 3rd. 3 days from 9 a.m. till late in the afternoon or early evening. Yes, it's tentative, but most of it will happen. Most of it. I mean, all weekend long I was here. I told you, like 10 hours each day, and I was calling people as I was putting together. And by the way, where did it go? Remember the day that I had you guys give me all those ideas? There they are. There they are. And there they are. And I saved them all. And then, what did I do with that? And from those, I turned that chicken scratch you gave me into these things. Wow, there's green highlighter on this page. Isn't that cool? Anyway, pages and pages of panel ideas that were a little easier to read and a little bit more fleshed out. Then I take last year's schedules and I one by one move things around on there in pencil. And then, as I'm writing and I remember, oh, I forgot this person, forgot that person, and make all these little additions in the margins, and then go back and check things off and mark them green and mark them red and all that kind of stuff and hope that I don't miss anybody. Every year I piss off somebody. Every year, without fail. It's heartbreaking. People call me, Michael, I talked to you in June and you said you were going to have me do a panel. What happened? Gopher's been eating my homework. Yeah, I've got a gopher right now that will not go away. But that's a whole other topic. Okay, so, and just so you know, we are going to be doing the road rally from the Lasco family kitchen table once again this year. I know, who was it the other day? It was, let me think. Somebody said, I miss Michael's kitchen. Andre, right? It was Andre that said that. So yes, we will be back doing the road rally from that kitchen table again. Anyway, this is the tentative and pretty probable 2021 prequel schedule. So, Monday, November 1st, we're going to start out with Tony Van Veen, once again, because he was my good luck charm last year. He's a very good friend of mine. Tony Van Veen, who's the CEO of Disc Makers, doing something marketing-oriented for musicians, I am sure. Then, following that, at 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., we are going to be joined by Mark Giovanni doing composing orchestral music in the box. Very nice guy, very good teacher, and I'm excited to have that. Then, oh, and by the way, I'm trying to put in half-hour sponsor breaks that will either be sponsors or giveaway or just breaks, but I'm putting half an hour between these so that we've got time to do this. Last year, I totally messed up the giveaways, and Bria said to me, Michael, you only messed up one thing last year. You didn't allot time for giveaways, so this year we are. Prequel number 3 from noon to 1 o'clock will be, wow, it's 4:35 already. 12 to 1 o'clock is creating compelling vocal and instrumental arrangements with Nancy and Fett. the best way to get a great mix is have a great arrangement. That's what they're going to talk about. That and other stuff that's arrangement oriented. That one is confirmed, by the way. This one is confirmed. Writing bios that don't suck. With my friend Dan Kimpel, who's worked at Music Connection, has written just all kinds of rock and roll stuff, and is probably the single best writer of artist bios that I've known in 50 years, 40 years, whatever I've been in the industry, the best. So he and I talked, and he is confirmed for writing bios that don't suck. Then half-hour sponsor break. And then our very own Keith LeBrant, who, there he is in the chat, is going to do prequel number 5 on Monday, November 1st, which from 3 to 4 p.m., organizing your music, pitches, signings, placements, and income with Keith LeBrant. Rhymes with Lou Grant. I've also confirmed this next one. I just got off the phone with him a little bit before we went live today, which is 5 Steps to Getting to Yes with Jason Bloom from 4:30 to 5:30 on Monday. And then we're done for the day on Monday. Then Tuesday, starting at 9 a.m., this is all Pacific time, obviously. 9 a.m. on Tuesday, we are doing recording electric and acoustic guitars with Ronan Chris Murphy. That's confirmed. Then half hour to set up for Michael Lloyd's 2-hour extravaganza, which is prequel number 8, which is song feedback with legendary record producer Michael Lloyd. We did 2 hours with that guy last year, and nobody got bored. Everybody loved it. He is great at giving feedback, so we're excited to have him back doing that. The next one is prequel number 9 at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. This one is also confirmed, largely driven by you guys loving him so much. When I had him on an episode, I can't remember if it was a Quarantini or a regular Taxi TV, the 10 biggest mistakes that songwriters make with Jai Josephs. Followed by, this woman doesn't even know she's doing this yet, but I'm sure she will do it. And even if she's booked on something else, she'll drop it because it's me and it's Taxi and she loves us. Prequel number 10 from 2:30 to 3:30 on Tuesday, November 2nd is Open Q&A with music attorney Aaron Jacobson. Yay! Here's a guy that has no idea that he's doing this. No idea whatsoever. I had this idea like 2 months ago. I think you guys also spit it out that day we were doing Road Rally panel idea suggestions, and somebody mentioned, taking the sting out of rejection. So I happen to have a friend who is not a rock star psychologist, but he's a therapist. And at some point in his life a few years ago, he was a Taxi member, and he's been to a Road Rally. So he doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to hit him up to do Taking the Sting Out of Rejection with Hanon Block. He's got an Israeli first name, Hanon Block. And that will be prequel number 11 from 4 to 5 p.m. on Tuesday, November 2nd. Then we move on to Wednesday, November 3rd, prequel number 12, another person I haven't reached out to yet, but a very good friend of mine, and if he's not like out of town or something, I'm sure he'll do it. That one is going to be called Turning Your Old Songs into New Income with Jeff Freundlich, followed, of course, by a sponsor break. Then we go into prequel number 13. Again, another person I haven't even let know that they're doing this yet, but I'm sure he will. Production Music Library, What They Are and What They Do with Dean Crepane. Come on, Dino won't say no to that. But I realize we've never done a panel because this stuff is all open to the public. And basically, I think every Taxi member knows what a production music library is at this point. Most people, most musicians on the street, I would say only 5 or 10% of them know. So it's like we all have this private language that we speak in that they're clueless about. So there you go. We're going to have Dean Crepane tell them all about it. Here's another one, somebody that I've been seeing emails hit my box last year. I messed up, or he didn't reach out to me soon enough. I couldn't get him in. Richard Harris, who's been on a panel or two at the Road Rally, used to be a Taxi member way back when, and he co-writes with a very successful songwriter named Pam Shane, and they always want to do something, so I'm asking them to do a thing called turning strums into tracks. Richard is both a songwriter and producer. Pam is primarily a songwriter, I believe. And so I'm going to have them doing turning strums into tracks so that you can see the transition, because a lot of songwriters write on an acoustic guitar or just them in a piano, and they go, I don't know how to turn that into a track and make it sound like a pop song. So you're going to find out. Here's another one. This is just a working title, Mastering Made Easier. I have a very dear friend in New York, two dear friends actually. One of them is a guy named Peter Greco, and the other one is Tony Bon Jovi. Yes, that name sounds familiar for two reasons. Tony was the owner of the Power Station Studio in New York, which for my money was the best sounding Power Station Studio, a best sounding live room anywhere in the business. Might still be to this day. Just incredible. And actually had at least as many hit records done in that room as Criteria did. So Tony is a geek, a techie geek kind of guy. He's also a world-class engineer, world-class producer, owned that facility and then sold it many years ago. It became Avatar Studios, and now it's becoming a school, I think. Anyway, Tony is a mad genius, really, really brilliant guy. And yes, he's John Bon Jovi's uncle. And he came up with mastering software that I haven't used it yet. They actually gave me a free download of it. I just haven't had the time to use it. They gave it to me like 6 months ago. And it is basically idiot-proof mastering software that's kind of, from as it was described to me, like one button. You click the button and it magically makes it sound amazing. Knowing Tony Bon Jovi, I believe it. In his spare time, he actually consults for companies, I think like Cessna and Gulfstream, doing acoustics and sound deadening for the interiors of airplanes and jets, amongst many other things he does. He himself is a private pilot. So he brought his two worlds together. I once went, probably 10 years ago or more, flew down to Miami with Tony Ferguson, who was like senior VP of A&R at MCA Records, and he and I flew down to Miami. God, it's probably more like 15 years ago. Flew down to Miami to hear a band, a taxi band that Tony wanted to sign. And he literally heard the tape or the CD, whatever it was, and said, can we go to Miami and watch them do a live thing? So the band put together a showcase in their living room in North Miami, and we flew down and saw that. And then after that, we hooked up with Tony Bon Jovi, who's also friends with my friend Tony Ferguson. And the three of us went to a place, it might have been an SIR, Studio Instrument Rentals, or a place like that, to see a band showcase that Interscope was also interested in. And Bon Jovi, he doesn't take drugs, he doesn't drink, if I remember correctly. We went out to my favorite Italian restaurant in Pompano Beach, Florida. Amazing Italian restaurant. And we get to this showcase, and we're sitting on a couch in the back of the rehearsal room watching the band, and Tony Bon Jovi fell asleep and started snoring in the middle of the showcase. Doesn't get any better than that. A little embarrassing for all involved, but it was pretty damn funny, I must say. Anyway, so Peter Greco, a very good friend of mine in New York City, works with Bon Jovi on this company that builds the, I may be exaggerating, I hope I'm not, the one button, one click mastering software that sounds amazing. And I'm telling you, if Bon Jovi invented it, it will be amazing. So I saw an email from Greco that came in yesterday while I was out anniversarying, and I'm going to put him in that time slot. So there you go. Those are the prequels. I'm sure we'll add another one or two. Very, very, very busy first 3 days. And now we are on to the private stuff that only you taxi members get. And again, there are a few things in here that I haven't even reached out to confirm. But I have confirmed Mary Ramos, Quentin Tarantino's music supervisor, once again for our keynote interview, and I can't wait to interview her. That's from, where is that? From 9:05 to 10:30. I think I made that 10:15. I got to double check that. Anyway, and then we're on to producing TV music for your day gig with Matt Vanderboe, Chuck Henry, and Stephen Baird. Have I talked to Matt or Stephen about this? No. Has Chuck told me, are you going to put the three of us together on a panel? We really want to do something together because we're goofy when we're together. I said, I know. You guys are goofy when you're not together, but you're even goofier when you're together. And they are just three shining examples of people that just said, I'm going to hunker down, I'm going to get this right, and now they earn really nice livings doing music and nothing else. So there you go. And they're also like good luck charms, so I like to get them in early and get you guys inspired. Then after that, last year we had Bandzoogle do a sponsor session with Dave Cool, whose last name really is Cool, and he is a really cool guy. I'm pretty sure they'll come back. I haven't called him yet. I'm being presumptive. Then after that, from 12:30 to 1:30, I have confirmed this. Be a fly on the wall for a country co-write. That's with Marty Dodson and Clay Mills, and that's confirmed. I'm literally going to have them sit down and do a co-write, and we're just going to watch. That's simple. Nashville's famous for its writing sessions. Most pro writers do 2 or 3 of those a day. We're going to see what it's actually like to be in the room. Followed at 1:45 to 3 o'clock doing instrumental pitch and feedback panel with 3 music library owners. I'm not going to tell you who they are yet because none of them know that they're on it yet. And here's another one with one person that I know wants to do something at the rally, which is Callie J. Many of you know her. She's been a guest on Taxi TV. And another Taxi member that we had at our live show at Kulak's a couple of years ago. Her name is Tamara Bubble. And the two of them, I want to get the two of them together. They need to write together. They're both fun and sassy, and I think that Tamara is more like on the hip-hop side. Callie can be on the hip-hop side. She's definitely like on the sassy pop side, and they're both really good at being really focused and building a plan and following the plan and building their careers. So I want them to do a panel called How to Launch Your Career with Callie J and Tamara Bubble, followed by at 4:45 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, TV and film song pitch and feedback panel. Well, they don't know they're doing it yet, but I'm sure they will, so I'm going to tell you. With Bob Mayer, Matt DeLuca, both of them. Matt was a first-timer at the Road Rally last year. It was an excellent panelist. Bob Mayer is one of the all-time greats. He's on every year. And I'm also going to invite Pat Weaver, who's an old friend of mine, who was a Taxi screener 2008, 9, and 10-ish, around there. And she's now like the head of Warner Chappell Production Music, I believe. So, and I spoke to her like a month ago, and she said, sure, I'll do something at the rally. So they don't know when they're doing it or exactly what they're doing it, but they're doing it. By the way, every night, I think that we're going to have the Music Pro Showcase come back every night. I will double check with that, with those guys. Day number 2, which is Saturday, November 6th. I'm going to do something that I don't think I've ever done before. I'm going to do an instrumental pitch and feedback panel with Taxi A&R team members. 3 of your all-time favorites from the reactions I got to them. Again, they don't know they're doing this, but I'm sure they will. Paul Taylor, who was just on the show recently, Craig Pilo, who's been on the show, I think, twice, and Joe Brandt, who's been on the show and did a Road Rally listening panel last year. 3 phenomenal screeners, especially for instrumental stuff. Not that they don't do songs as well, but those guys are great, so I'm doing that. Followed at 10:30 to 11:30, mixing orchestrals and trailers with Dennis Sands. Dennis Sands is one of the top two leading big orchestral trailer mixers on the planet Earth. He is absolutely the real deal, and he's definitely confirmed for the rally. I just haven't given him the date and the time yet. Followed after that with a sponsor thing from CD Baby, and I'm not sure what they will do for that this year. Hopefully they will be back as a sponsor. I really need to make that phone call. Followed by 12:45 to 1:30 TV and film song pitch and feedback panel with music supervisors Mason Cooper and Frank Palazzolo, and hopefully we'll be joined this year by a young lady I've not met yet. I haven't even talked to her about this, Yvette Matroyer, who is becoming a hot property in the world of music supervisors. So hopefully she can join us. She's been known to run some listings with us from time to time. Let's see, who else? Robin Frederick this year is doing a thing, although you know what? I need to mark this down. I'm moving her actually to the Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday slot. And so Robin is going to do a thing called Streamline Your Songwriting Process, which is going to be all about without getting overly involved in bogging down your process so that you can get more music done, have more output, and increase your odds of signing deals. Robin's going to show you how to do that. Followed by music publishing with Michael Ames and Bobby Borg. Had Michael Ames on the show, like a month ago, and you guys absolutely loved him. Borg is always great. I had them do a thing last year at the Road Rally. They were amazing. They are total pros. Here's another one. I haven't reached out yet, but I'm pretty sure he'll do it, although I believe that his wedding anniversary is always during the Road Rally. That can mess things up. Anyway, turning your old songs into new income. I'm not going to tell you who that is yet. I got a sneeze coming. Don't sneeze. How are we doing on time? 8 minutes. Okay. Followed by Music Pro. And then the next day, I don't have a drum roll, but here, I'll give you applause. You're going to love this next one. You guys kept asking. I brought her back for a third time. Laurel Ostrander, How TV Editors Pick and Place Music with Laurel Ostrander. Yay! Those of you who have seen her in the ballroom at the Road Rally know that she's an amazing teacher. Not just good, not just great, but an amazing teacher. Unfortunately, because we're doing this thing on YouTube, we can't take scenes from a reality show and music from a library and have her do what she did on stage at the rally. But I'm going to go back and pick out all the salient points that she spoke about on stage, find the stuff that she can talk about and explain why she uses certain kinds of music, what makes her like one piece of music more than another piece of music, how she might edit it, if things like a developmental arc are important, button endings, what kind of intro she likes, all that stuff. Excuse me, you will love her. I am trying to get this one off the ground. I haven't reached out to any of these people yet, but from 10:30 to 11:30, R&B and hip-hop listening and feedback panel. Hopefully with Jen Malone, who's a music supervisor on some really big shows. Hookman, who you met last year at the Road Rally, he did the thing on how to break into song camps. And Ron Harris, who's usually paired up with Rob Shirelli, very smart, really inspirational guy. After that, hopefully the folks at Isotope will be back. I think they were pretty happy with their sponsorship last year. So if they were and they're coming back, that will be their slot, is 11:30 to 12. Then from 12:45 to 1:45, I haven't confirmed the time on this, but the panel and the person will happen. And it's called Your Song is Great. Here's Why I Can't Use It, with music supervisor Mason Cooper. Followed by 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, Rob Shirelli doing something, and I'm not sure what yet. And then here's a surprise. John Pearson, are you still in the house? I hope you are, because I'm officially asking. No, don't leave. A local production music Zoom? No, stick around for this because Pearson, I'm having you and Greg Carrozza do a thing loosely titled for now called How to Find Success Using Taxi with Greg Carrozza and John Pearson from 3:15 to 4:15 p.m. on whatever day that was, Sunday. Followed by, I hope, yep, I hope you're available. You and Carrozza have been great contributors to the cause of helping other people become successful, and I've loved watching both of you guys become successful. Kind of a slow launch to the rocket taking off, if you will. So I would love to have you guys do that. Followed by from 4:30 to 5:45 p.m. the Happy Ending Pitch Panel with Rob Shirelli, Michael Lloyd, and this year we're going to add Andrea Torsia if she's available. She told me she would do it, and I thought it would be nice to have a lady on that panel. So there you go. That's it. Don't tell anybody because, like I said, a lot of that stuff not locked in yet. Anyway, there it is. We've got 4 minutes left. If you guys have any questions or comments, I'm all yours for the next 4 minutes. Yeah, so don't book anything else on Sunday, November 7th, JP. Well, right now it's scheduled because I always have to move things around when I reach out to people. They say, yeah, I can do it, but can I do it on this day at this time? So things will move a little bit. Right now, you guys are scheduled for Sunday, November 7th, 3:15 to 4:15 p.m. Pacific time. So noon to 12:15 to 1:15 your time. Anyway, there you go. And yeah, there's Robbie Hancock in the room. I haven't talked to Robbie yet, but I'm sure that we will do more Zoom Hangouts. Once it's all locked in, will I bring out a printout? I thought you said bring a pint. I was going to say, you're British. Once it's all locked in, will there be a printout for us? Yeah, it'll be on the website. Absolutely. Yeah, and I've got to say, I've got this pretty much done about a month earlier than I normally get it done. So if you want to thank me up and down for spending 20 hours of my weekend in here to do this, don't bother, because it really wasn't for you. I mean, it is, but really what I was trying to do is the 2021 Road Rally sponsor deck, so the sponsor people can go out and sell those sponsorships, and they can't really do it without knowing what the panels are. So there you go. Wow, Waves plugins are derived from technology found at the Roswell crash site in 1947. Cool. All right. Any questions? We have 2 minutes left. I'm telling you, if you guys have ever watched, wow, why do I keep, because the sun is changing outside. All of a sudden now I look like I've been to a tanning salon. I watch a lot of that Ancient Alien show on the History Channel or Discovery Channel. And one of the guys they interview, one of the talking heads they interview, a guy named Paul Stonehill, twice has been the building manager for our office complex. So I've actually known him fairly well. I mean, it's not like we go out drinking together or anything, but I stopped him one day and in the parking lot and said, Paul, is any of this stuff real on that show? And he goes, it's real. UFOs are real. Okay. He's Russian. Everything sounds like you're talking to a spy when you talk to him. Everything's very secretive sounding. Let's see. Elliot says, glad to see Taxi make it this far. I used to get mail way back in the late 80s from Taxi. Nah, maybe the early 90s, because I started the company in 92, but that's good to know. Marion always has questions. By the time we get around to Q&A, she can't remember them. Marion, I could probably guess your age based on my own age and how much stuff I don't remember anymore. Anyway, all right, you guys, thanks for watching. And remember, I'm not doing a quarantini on Thursday. Why? Because of this stuff. I am in full-blown road rally mode. There's so much stuff I need to get done. So that's the plan. I will see you on Monday right back here at 4 o'clock. I was going to say have a great weekend, but we're well ahead of the weekend. And don't forget, Monday, Session Wire will be my guest. And I would be willing to bet that they're going to give away a free license or two to Session Wire. And trust me, you want one. So see you guys very soon. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the show. And bye-bye. Whoops, wrong music. There we go. Bye-bye.